Us understand the situation, we have respected rugby journalist Mike Greenway to bring some context to the story. Good evening, Mike. Second time lucky, and welcome to Sports on the Full View.
Good evening.
Okay, so let's get straight into it, Mike. What actually happened with this tournament, which has now resulted in the seemingly amicable split for now?
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of hard work done behind the scenes for ages now to try and get those visas for our South African players. The whole problem is that the guys need to go into a bio bubble somewhere close to where they will play in the UK and Ireland. And they just haven't been able to get over that hurdle. It's been a real problem, and they tried right up until the very last minute. Just yesterday, they finally made the decision that it's just going to be impossible. It doesn't help that South Africa has got sort of quite a red flag as far as COVID-19 is concerned with the strain that we have. So the governments of Ireland in particular and the UK as well are very wary of letting our players in there. So at the moment we're kind of like pariahs in sport. No one wants South African teams on their shores. So what it means is we're consigned to playing against each other once again.
Now, obviously, Mike, with COVID-19 and no Super Rugby, and I mean all the factors that you've already touched on, our top players have not been exposed to high-level rugby in a while. Now, is this a cause for concern for box coach Jacques Ninaba?
Yeah, of course it is. We were desperate to play against some foreign teams. I mean, we've been playing against each other now since September last year. So that's about 6 months of relentlessly playing each other. We've had 3 different competitions. We're about to have a 4th. And we desperately need some fresh competition, some cross-pollination of ideas, just something different, a change of scenery, just to get the guys kind of excited about the British and Irish Lions who are going to be in our shores in 2.5 months. And you know what, the reality is that when we play those Lions, they will be the first foreign players that we have played since that World Cup final in Japan in 2019. We've only played against each other in provincial games ever since that final. So it's been a long, hard road, and unfortunately, to use the cliche, it is what it is, and we're just going to have to get on with it.
You've now just touched on the British and Irish Lions tour later on this year. Now, do you then, Mike, think that our world champions will actually be undercooked going into that series?
It's highly possible. The only thing I can say, and I'm sure this is what Jacques Ninaba and Rassie Erasmus will be saying, is at least they know where they stand now. They can just get on with it and do the best they can. There's been so much uncertainty for so many months now, and with that comes an enormous amount of stress. And now that's all gone. At least they know where they stand. They can get on with having domestic camps, alignment camps they call them. So we know where we stand, and that's better than everything being up in the air. But yeah. Absolutely. We won't have played, the Springboks won't have played a test match since the World Cup final. That was 18, 19 months ago. But what can you do? Curveballs keep getting thrown at South African rugby, or all rugby all over the world. And it's unusual times, and really there's just no choice but to do the best we can with what we've got.
Indeed, we can only work with what we do have. Now, Mike, I want to move our conversation a little bit. Now, SA Rugby has obviously lost a lot of money in the past year due to COVID-19. What does that actually mean to a provincial team, for example, the EP Elephants, who are dependent on funds from the national body? And will they still be actually getting financial support from SA Rugby in the next financial year?
Yeah, look, the impact is massive. Let's not kid ourselves. The biggest source of income for SA Rugby is broadcasting rights. And you get your broadcasting rights from international competitions primarily. That's where you get your foreign currency coming in. So it's a massive blow. I mean, and South African rugby has been taking these hits for well over a year now. When we had lockdown came March last year, you know, and our local broadcast has been very supportive and in covering all the domestic competitions, and you know, we've rehashed the domestic competitions 3 or 4 times now. But yes, absolutely, the money is drying up. And that's why SA Rugby and the Rainbow Cup organisers overseas were so desperate for this tournament to go ahead, because there would be foreign revenue for everyone concerned. Now that's drying up, and it filters down from SA Rugby, our governing body, right through all the provincial structures in the country. So it's a dire situation, and I think that's why you'll see that this new South African competition we're going to have is called Rainbow SA. So they've still kept that rainbow in. And I suspect that's because they can still hopefully try and get some of the sponsorship revenue, some of the broadcasting revenue, because they've still got that rainbow from the Rainbow Cup. And so it's still tied in to the Rainbow Cup. And I think what they would also be really hoping is that as we get further down the line and hopefully the COVID situation changes, then we can have a tie-in between what was the Rainbow SA, which is currently underway, and the Rainbow North, which is happening in Europe. So they're continuing in the North, the Pro14 teams that were going to play against us, and we're continuing in South Africa. And I think there's a hope that down the line, if things clear up, we can have some kind of like tie-in between maybe the best 2 teams from Rainbow SA and the best 2 teams from Rainbow in the North. There can be something like that, and I mean, that's a miracle I think everyone's praying for. But at the moment, we're left with Rainbow SA, and that means the Sharks, Bulls, Lions, Stormers will be playing each other yet again. And it's tough. It's tough for everyone, but you know, what can you do? This is the hand that we've been dealt by, a very unusual situation that the globe is dealing with.
Certainly, Mike. Now, the Cheetahs also almost found themselves homeless after their exit from the Pro14. They now have some talented players in their team, like the likes of Roscoe Speckman and Junior Pogomela. Will they be able to hang on to their top players despite not being linked to a top-tier competition?
I think it's going to be very difficult for the Cheetahs. I feel desperately sorry for them. They really, in my opinion, have been treated poorly. And I do think, unfortunately, that you will see their leading players finding their ways to those 4 former Super Rugby teams, the ones I've just mentioned, who are supposed to be playing in the Rainbow Cup. I would think so, because those players would obviously have national aspirations as well. And if they're not playing top-level rugby, it's going to be difficult for the Springbok coaches to really assess how they're going. So it would be in their interest to try and make their work to the Bulls, Sharks, Stormers, Lions. It'll be hard for the Cheetahs to keep those guys for sure.
Certainly. Well, Mike, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. Have yourself a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.